Previously on JonBenet Today.
So what kind of answers are you looking for? You mean you need me to say I had nothing to do with this, I had no involvement in this, I certainly didn't kill this girl? That would help you to move on?
No, I really just want to know what your connection with Patsy was. Because it seems like you knew Patsy before.
Well, I've never admitted to knowing her, and there's a reason for that, because it would incriminate her. That doesn't have anything to do with making a trip. What if I had gotten into a tremendous argument with my wife at the time, and I was just beside myself, and I called up Patsy Ramsey, and she said, I tell you what, Christmas, you're gonna have a good Christmas. You're just gonna come to Boulder. We'll meet you outside of the house. I can get you into the house when my husband goes to sleep. We're just gonna be together. What if we were having an affair? It's not the end of the world. I mean, people have affairs.
Wow. Here we are, guys.
My God.
Oh my God. Hey.
Teddy, you all right?
No.
I'm not.
It's just, it's doing something to me psychologically.
What is?
All this John Mark Karr stuff.
Well, this is it. This is going to be the last. We're going to talk about it. This is just our discussion now about all of the interviews that we've done over the last, that we've aired over the last couple of months.
There's a lot of journalism.
There's a lot to unpack.
4.5 hours of phone conversations that neither one of you had to participate in.
Yeah, so. You really took one for the team.
Yeah, it might have been faster if we did it.
I mean, you'd breeze through the questions faster.
Yeah, it would have definitely been faster if you were there, because he would have hung up a lot quicker.
Well, let's talk about Bobby's new best friend, John Mark Karr. John Mark Karr.
No, he's not. We're not friends.
I mean, he wants to be our friend.
Like, we were pretty tight up until the first episode dropped, and then he was like, this was recorded.
He turned on you.
Yeah. Well, he turned on me. Thank you. Let's gaslight it.
Yeah.
I mean,
you stabbed me in the back, John.
No.
I mean, Reich. I'm sorry.
Oh, shut. Wow. Yeah.
Well,
twist the knife.
Right.
Sorry to get it wrong.
That's what we're going to be discussing and breaking down the calls that we've been hearing over these last couple of months.
Yeah.
And,
it's the last one, the last John Mark Karr episode. We promise.
We promise. And we're also going to explore the bombshell that John Mark Karr dropped. Was he having an affair with Patsy Ramsey? Well, hey, I'm Bobby Pavlovsky.
And I'm Teddy Ronald Reagan, just smacky here.
And this is
JonBenet Today. All right.
So, I guess I should ask you guys first. We'll get to how everybody else felt later. How did you guys feel?
How I feel about what?
Listening to those phone calls.
Oh.
He's on kind of unhinged and like all over the place.
I'm not unhinged all over the place.
I'm not talking about you.
Jesus, you guys are similar.
Oh my God.
She's talking about John Mark Karr.
That's what we're talking. That's what we're doing here.
You're probably gonna get confused a lot in this episode.
He's just
we're
all over the
about,
place. He's unhinged,
and he's very theatric. Very theatric. I don't know if you guys noticed, but he did a lot of voices.
I can see him loving show tunes.
Let's listen to some of those.
Maybe I'm a fake. Maybe I'm not the real one. Maybe the real one's dead. Please believe I killed a little kid. Please, so my life will be a living, breathing hell like it already is. If you just believe I killed a little kid, I'd be so happy. That's my Adam Sandler. He said that he had oral sex with that girl, and we just knew that if he did, then his DNA would match some DNA someplace else. Listen, man. Now listen to me, bro. I don't want to talk about that last call no more. You bring up that last call, I'm gonna walk right out this door, baby. Listen, we down in Louisiana, man. I'm at Lake Charles right now. Lake Charles, Louisiana. I ain't talking about that last call no more. I don't even know who that dude was. Didn't talk like me. Who was that dude, man? That dude was somebody. He was an imposter. I don't even know who you're talking about.
Jesus.
Like, what kind of voice are you doing with that?
Well, that was Adam Sandler in one of them, but I feel like the Mary Lacey was Cartman. Chris Tucker was definitely the Lake Charles, Louisiana one.
Oh, yeah.
Lake Charles.
That was uncomfortable.
What a mess.
So let us know in the comments what you guys think his best,
Celebrity
voice was.
impression is. I mean, he's a man of many so-called talents.
Oh, yeah, he was
and
British,
he got to
too.
display it. Oh yeah, and even the British accent, which was like, I mean, he had accents going in, going out.
I mean, yeah, he started with the British one and very much lost it partway through.
when he lost his cool.
That felt like me when I was auditioning
Right.
for a high school play.
Yeah.
It was like supposed to be a country thing, and it's like partway through, it's like, oh, I just realized I was speaking normal.
You were just,
Which I can't. They don't even let me know audition for no school plays no more.
Yeah, well, they don't let any adults do that
They
because you're not in
shouldn't.
school.
No, they should. So
Right.
I do find it really interesting how JMK has just so many different types of voices. And also, he's almost like a rubber ball that some autistic kid is using as a fidget spinner. Of just like, how many sides to him are there?
Right, when you used to sing too?
I also don't know what to call them.
Right.
Like, is it like?
Yeah.
Well, so if we say JMK, we're wrong. Like,
No, we're saying John Mark Karr because that's who he was in most of these things that we're talking about.
Right.
But
It's like when I'm watching Inception. It says Ellen Page, but we know it's
Teddy.
Elliot Page.
right.
But for the sake of not being confusing, when I'm talking during the movie, and I go, wow, Elliot Page looks like a really hot person. I want to have sex with them.
Very good. I love how progressive you're getting.
I'll have sex with them.
Yeah.
been working on it.
Yeah, sure.
I would definitely. They're attracted to me, probably.
Right. Well, and then during that call, they tried to clear up a lot of things. One of them being that, like, oh, they weren't ever living as a woman.
Right.
Right. And honestly, it's like I didn't have them elaborate because I knew it was a really hot topic. But I see it more, again, as a Robert Durst Jinx thing where he dressed as a woman as a disguise.
Oh yeah, he did. Oh yeah, so weird.
I mean,
yeah.
when you think you're evading law enforcement and
Sure.
secret agencies and stuff like that.
You can't
You're
get it up.
crazy. There's
Yeah,
a lot
Limp
of
Bizkit.
things. A lot of
Right.
things.
So yeah, that was one of the things they wanted to clear up. And then also we talked about they had a background in vocal coaching,
Yeah.
singing and theatrics, which is like
John Mark Karr sings very well, allegedly.
Loves the show
he didn't
too.
think JonBenet.
Oh, my God.
Well,
Not that little girl. The little girl she was a fine little girl. I'm sure if I knew her, but you don't think I did. But if I did, I'm sure she was just the best of the best kid. Now, Michael Tracy got really angry at me. He asked me, he says, she was the most beautiful girl, I bet, that you ever met, and you loved her more than any girl you ever loved. And I said, actually, not that. Oh, that's not true. Man, he exploded. He got so angry at me because I said, no, actually, I've known prettier girls and I've known smarter girls, and I definitely have known more talented girls musically. There's no doubt about that. That kid needed some work on her singing.
Which we knew. And it was
all
nice
right,
to
chill.
hear that verified.
You were the only
Yeah.
one saying that, you and him.
She would sound better then, right?
Yeah,
You're now on
they're really
Teddy's side?
subpar.
I mean, it is what
Oh,
it
just
is.
because John
got
Mark Karr and
trained.
Teddy
No, I could
agree?
I have ears. I could hear. Like, I'm just being honest.
Wow, guys. Wow,
Yeah.
guys.
Well,
No, clearly.
Yeah.
I mean, she
Okay.
doesn't come from fine stock.
Okay,
you
well,
know.
she was. Oh, Jesus Christ! Hey, come on, she was 6 years old. All right,
She's 6 years old.
exactly.
Still put lipstick on
So
her.
Shut up,
another.
Donna. She was 6 years old.
I know, she was a baby.
You guys are both disrespectful. It only normally worked when it was just Teddy. If we're doing it, we all just sound like terrible
Right,
people.
well, okay. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Fix your f***ing face, Donna.
You fix yours.
Put some lipstick on. Speaking of pigs. Oink. Oink for me.
Okay. One of the other things that we learned in this phone call was that John Mark Karr pointed out that he had been talking to Michael Tracy for years, which we knew.
We knew that.
But he said only in the last few months of them talking, which is in 2006, did the subject of his involvement with JonBenet even come up.
Hey, that's right.
Which they made it sound like it was like, oh, they were stringing him along for 4 years,
Yeah.
but it's
Which is also kind of preposterous.
Yeah, but
like
then
4
also-
years is a long amount of time. That's 4 Christmases.
right to also
Which is
just
a movie
be
starring James
Yeah.
Gandolfini.
responding to these emails and you know
And not be talking about no John
placating
Benet.
this guy who might be a pedophile.
Right.
You know.
And apparently this guy
Maybe.
who reached out to you, because I would think, Michael Tracy having made that Sympathetic to the Ramseys documentary, but you're not talking even about that? If you're not talking about John Benet for 4 years?
We'll talk about this a little bit later. John Mark Karr basically kind of said that he was having an affair with Patsy.
Ah!
Yeah. Well,
So
I know.
that, I believe, kind of plays into this whole thing where when he's talking to Michael Tracy, he knows he's talking to someone who's sympathetic to the Ramsey family.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, that's why you're not going to do that and throw her under the bus while she's still alive kind of thing, because he knows they'll ruin it. But he is desperately trying to get in contact with them.
Which also, it's like, how, you know, if he potentially, and we'll talk about it again, had an affair with Patsy, why wouldn't he just reach out back out to Patsy?
Well, because again, he doesn't have. They're not going to. Are they going to actually risk talking to each other since that day? Which again, we're going to talk about this later.
Yeah.
So let's.
That's why Elliot Page don't communicate with me. It's through back channels.
What?
Yeah, because we don't want to be people on our asses.
Yeah.
Our
You
boy
just
asses.
Slide into the DMs.
Jesus. Okay, I lost what I was going to say.
Can we just get on with the fucking show? I mean, I'm sick of this whole chapter of our investigation because John Mark Karr just does something to me. You want to talk about it? No, look, no. Let me stay objective about this, okay?
Well, let's go back to him and Michael Tracy because he spent a lot of time on that too. But also, let's talk about the big moment that we had in the first episode where he alludes to something going on there, where he's just basically like, "Hey, who's to say?" This was from our first phone call. He's like, "Who's to say that?" You know what? Never mind. I'm not gonna say that.
Play your clip.
And he just kept on putting on the pressure and putting on the pressure. And he was using the dying mother to play on my heart. And he knew that he could for some reason. I don't know why. And so he was using her. She's suffering. She's dying. She must have closure. And who's to say that I can't say anymore, but what I'm trying to say is
there it was.
Oh my God.
Yep.
And we speculated after that clip, because this was before we did our second phone call. We were like, hey, I think he was going to say, like, who's to say Patsy needs closure?
Yeah.
Right.
Which is like, whoa.
He was about to let on to something.
That means he's saying, like, oh, she knows exactly what happened. And full circle, second phone call, he got to that exact same point again, where, like, mentally, where he's explaining this stuff again, and he's like, and who's to say she needs closure?
Leaking like a sieve.
And he's like, I'm asking you.
shaking me and saying she's dying and blah, 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 and she needs closure. Why don't you ask yourself, did she need closure? Do you think she needed closure? I mean, do you? I'm not saying she didn't. I'm asking you, do you think that dying mom needed closure about how her daughter died and what happened to her daughter and who killed her daughter? I'm asking you that question, sir.
It was crazy.
Yeah,
I was like, what am I watching? A Few Good Man?
Yeah, and it's and that's when he did his spot on Chris Tucker impression where he said, I don't want to talk about that last call.
No. That was so weird. Like, I don't know. Like,
Well, then if you don't know, then don't say anything.
But that's something that clearly triggered him, and he wasn't saying this to Michael Tracy, because we've seen all their communications in 2006, and at no point is he like saying to Michael Tracy, who's to say she needs closure? Like, he's just like, please let me get her phone number. Like,
I just want, I just need to, she needs to hear my voice, what message I got. And also, it's where I wonder, with John Mark Karr's recounting that, like, basically that he was just coming up with some sort of fantasy scenario, or like a man and a woman, versus claiming that Michael Tracy was almost trying to get him to, confess to something. Where it's like, I feel like that's been, that whole part of this exchange between these two characters has been characterized in different ways over time, where I'm like, did John Mark Karr reach out? Did Michael Tracy maybe reach out? Did they talk for a few months? Did they talk for 4 years?
Well, we know John Mark Karr is the one who initially reached out because he met a guy. I think it was in London, I believe was the thing. He ran into a guy who was basically, he worked at the Daily Camera. He met a guy who worked at the Daily Camera who basically was like, oh, you should talk to Michael Tracy, because somehow they started talking about JonBenet, and he found out that Michael Tracy was close to the parents because he had made documentaries, which, again, that's what sparked his initial interest. And he even says that in the phone calls, where he's like, I only wanted to talk to him because I heard he was close with the parents. So it sounds like he was just probably trying to get information about the family for years.
But then it's like Michael Tracy. It's also, I almost want you to interview Michael Tracy at some point, because I think it's a little fishy that Michael Tracy would engage with this guy for 4 years at any sort of volume.
Well, again, if it was innocent, it's more of a like, oh, sure. It's not like I spent a lot of time talking to him. It's like, oh, yeah, every once in a while, like once a month, maybe I'd respond to an email from him, which isn't that big of a deal. But then he's like, oh, then in 2006. Yeah. But then he paints it in all these documentaries as like, I spent 4 years talking to this man.
That's what I'm saying, Bobby.
You know what that does to you? Like, but it's like, I think that's more of like, puffing it up.
But it's also puffing it up.
4 years. Look at what we got out of it in 4.5 hours.
We're not talking about making the new Avengers movie. We're talking about, you were in contact with someone who then you later says claimed that they killed her.
Right.
But for 4 years, you just responded to every random email, but you didn't report it to the police. You didn't report it to the private investigators or the Ramseys that you had interviewed, and you have the contact info. Right. John Mark Karr wasn't asking for that contact info from the beginning.
His email address at the beginning was December 26th, man, or whatever.
Jesus.
And then and then he later revealed his name to be like, my name is Daxus.
Can you imagine getting letters from the Zodiac Killer and you're just sending them back hey, I got some extra coupons for the week. Here you go.
Still haven't figured out your first one.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Did you see that new Clint Eastwood movie?
Really hope you're well.
Yeah.
That's actually fun. Doing little Zodiac codes, but they're all on postcards. From where you're at.
All over that. Yeah, okay. I could see that.
It's just holding them up.
He's a good friend.
This one's just a picture of my house, which was really creepy, but it was years ago. I'm still here.
Yeah.
We have a playful relationship with the Zodiac Killer.
I mean, that's the thing. You don't want to give him too much attention.
But you got to keep him hooked.
The Zodiac Killer?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. But again, yeah, I see what you're saying. But we again only gave 4.5 hours. Michael Tracy did 4.5 years.
I mean, honestly, when you did your interview, you didn't really ask a whole lot of questions.
I didn't have to.
So, I mean, maybe Michael Tracy had a bunch of questions he was asking, and he would just shut down.
But again, he didn't know anything about his involvement with it. Apparently, it wasn't suggested at all until 2006.
Yeah.
So
that's what we're talking about here, you beaver. God, we're trying to figure out why for this 4.5 year exchange for 4 years they never even talked about this case.
They talked about the case, but not.
And then for those last several months, that's when they brought they kind of brought down the hammer on John Mark Karr, and ask him a question about this, and John Mark Karr saying, "Well, if there's a man and a woman, and it's just what's going on? A man and a woman."
Yeah, and that's why he gets really hung up on that. And he says, basically he was saying a hypothetical situation with a man and a woman, and that's why he's so mad at Mary Lacey. Because she basically says the whole, he had oral sex with her, and he got really mad in our interview, and he's like, I didn't. He's like, I said basically that's the only way you could have sex with a child. That's not what he actually said. Yeah. That's what he said in his emails, but he tried to be like, I don't remember exactly what I said. I was like, well,
yeah.
You said it was the only way you could have sex with a child, but I do see the technicality there. You're not saying you had oral sex with her.
Yeah.
So he hated Mary Lacey. He spent a lot of time on her. We're not going to talk about that much because it's not that important. We're going to move on to another fun piece of information we learned. Was the judge that presided over the grand jury for the JonBenet investigation.
Right.
The one that we later found out chose to indict the parents. The judge that was presiding over the grand jury investigation ended up being the exact same judge that signed John Mark Karr's arrest warrant.
Right.
What?
Which, that's kind of wild to me.
That is crazy.
If you really think about it, that judge would have all of the information from the grand jury.
Right.
Knowing, if they really thought the parents did it, why would that same judge,
then sign this with this theory that this guy was behind it,
or part of it. The judge knew that somebody else was involved with the Ramsey parents, and they're like, this makes sense. Let's get him.
Another part. Yep. Wow.
But that was an interesting fact, and we'll talk more about him coming back and his arrest.
Yeah.
Another thing we want to talk about was his wife.
The hot 20-something.
Yeah.
The one at the time of 1996 when JonBenet was murdered. Which, by the way, I want to point out something weird. This is just off the cuff here. They keep fucking up Alabama and Atlanta. Both sides of this have done that as far as where he possibly was.
I mean, that's a big difference. It's a different state.
Yeah, where supposedly he was at home in Alabama with his wife and kids. But then Mary Lacey in a press conference switches up.
So can we establish for sure that he was in Atlanta? No, but...
And then he does it too on a phone call.
I mean, a person could get on a jet and be in a nonstop flight from Atlanta to Denver. It wasn't unheard of. It was common.
Sure.
The busiest airport in the world was Atlanta. Even then, in 1996, it was the busiest airport in the world.
Yeah.
Which is like, why? Unless he's saying he was there for Christmas for the holidays with his family initially.
Which maybe.
But then, like, his wife would have already known he left. Anywho, it doesn't matter. But also, Mary Lacey talks about how, he was possibly coming from Atlanta, and it's like, why are you saying that?
What is going on here?
Right.
Exactly. One of the interesting things that he pointed out, and Mary Lacey pointed out, was that he said to authorities, my wife's not going to be able to account for where I was on December 23rd through January 4th.
Yep, I remember that.
And Mary Lacey even says, and he says, when they went and talked to his wife, she, in fact, could not confirm where he was from December 23rd to January 2nd.
Mr. Karr said to us at one point, you will not be able, my wife will not, ex-wife will not be able to tell you or provide an alibi of where I was from December 23rd through January 4th. In fact, when she was questioned, she could not alibi him between December 23rd and January 2nd. So there was a couple of days discrepancy. That's an odd consistency between their two statements. So can we establish for sure that he was in Atlanta? No.
January 2nd, 2 days earlier.
Yeah, it was only a discrepancy of 2 days.
But she couldn't account for him. She didn't know where her husband was.
That doesn't sound right.
Right. And he said, like, what if I got in a fight with my wife? And, I called Patsy and she said, come stay with me.
That doesn't have anything to do with making a trip to Colorado. Sometimes people do things. What if I had gotten into a tremendous argument with my wife at the time and I was just beside myself and I called up Patsy Ramsey and she said, I tell you what, Christmas, you're going to have a good Christmas. You're just going to come to Boulder. We'll meet you outside of the house. I can get you into the house when my husband goes to sleep. We're just going to be together. What if we were having an affair? It's not the end of the world. I mean, people have affairs.
But then he also says basically, hey, she would be charged with like knowledge before the fact and after the fact.
Well, she's protecting herself. There is a particular vulnerability that my wife had. It's what's known as, or there's two of them. One is a law that's called knowledge before the fact. And then one is called knowledge after the fact. And she could have been charged with both of them. She also could have been charged with just basically helping to conspire the kidnapping of JonBenet Ramsey. She was in it up to her neck, and she knew it eventually. But at first, she did it.
As far as like for the kidnapping is what he said of JonBenet.
Okay, accomplice or something.
Yeah, he said she would be an accomplice, where it's like, so that means...
She would be an accomplice.
That means she knew something with this, is what he's insinuating.
That Patsy knew something, or that his wife.
That his wife.
Oh.
If basically of his involvement somehow with possibly JonBenet. Or like basically with where he was, but he's like, like maybe... I think he said on Larry King that he believed that she was protecting their children.
Oh, yeah.
That's what her off-the-cuff response was.
Yeah.
But it is interesting that nobody can actually account for it. And
exactly.
And you see it online all the time on Reddit and web sleuths, people being like, oh, well, I heard his wife said that he was there in Atlanta for Christmas. In fact, they found the picture for the family on Christmas. He's not in it.
He's not in the picture.
Wow.
There is no actual proof that he was there. And again, she's being asked 10 years after the fact.
Yeah. And John Mark Karr is bringing it up in the year of our Lord, 2025, that his wife would not be able to account for it, which also seems to tell me that he never then told her, like, where he was at.
I think he might have, because that's why he's saying that, like, she would be an accomplice. But I also think he's very loyal to the women in his life. And won't sell them out.
The ones who stay.
Because he still speaks that wife's praise.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, she was a smoke show, apparently.
Well, yeah.
But it was just it's a
smoke and mirror show.
It's like a misnomer of a thing where he wasn't actually, nobody can figure out where he actually was.
No alibi, like at all.
Time.
Yeah.
But they've touted it as, he was in Alabama, and people are just like, oh, I dismiss it. it wasn't him at all.
Interesting.
So let's move on to his absolutely volatile temper.
It's scary. It's the dark side of John Mark Karr. It's a dark Karr.
But I knew that going in from reading like the emails with Michael Tracy, where it's just absolutely flying off the handle, like you're not listening or whatever, and it's just like
like a tantrum, like a kid.
Water,
it's crazy.
Roll down your back kind of thing.
Yeah, it's scary. It's like M. Night Shyamalan, Split. The movie with the guy with the things, James McAvoy, and he's like, sometimes he's nice,
right? But sometimes
he's charitable,
right?
Sometimes he's irritated.
I don't think.
Sometimes he's.
I think he had like 10 of them. You don't have to go through all of them.
I didn't watch it, but it's like it.
Yeah, I don't think there's a charitable one where it's just like.
Yeah.
Outside the grocery store, you have dogs people. It's like, do you have time to talk about pandas? And it's like, absolutely, I do.
That's the thing with multiple personality disorder. None of them are charitable. They're all selfish.
Well, I mean, he was charitable with his time unknowingly, I guess.
How so?
But, let's talk about the things that absolutely would set him off. One was, being referred to as a woman or living as a woman.
Or in the LGBTQI community at all, because he's not a part of that, he says.
He's not,
right, adamantly.
Until they add pedophile, I'm not supporting it.
Oh my God. He's so like fast and loose with these pedophile like references. I'm like, damn, he just thinks about it all the time, doesn't he?
Right. But one of the other things that would set him off too was the basically if you misquoted him. There was the thing of saying like everything I say means something for what I'm saying. You don't use my words out of context. Where it's like, okay, well, if you say little kids, want to lick ice cream out of my mouth, who am I to say no? It's like,
right? What the fuck?
I don't think the fucking context matters.
No,
right? Like you say some wild shit, and it's like if you're like everybody hates me, and I repeat that back to you, you're like, well, it's not everybody.
Yeah,
and then give me a 10-minute lecture on.
It just feeds into this whole victim mentality of like he's part of some big, tabloid machine of like the press is hounding him, and
no, the journalists treated me right. It was the people.
People that then run with stuff, and it's like whatever breadcrumbs we're following are mostly direct quotes from you.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. From your website. We even have that moment, where it's like he's like, you're not reading my stuff. It's like I read your website.
Right.
And then, but be careful which website you're talking about, because you brought up that one, Lisa Zora.
Right.
And that really set him off, and that was scary. I was so glad you were not in the same room as him. I thought he was going to, I don't know, dress you up in pageantry and take photographs of you.
Make you sing and stuff.
So, but yeah, everybody just be careful visiting those sites too, because he does he very much tracks that, and then tries to tell you right before the interview, like, hey, check this out, and then be like, oh, hey, here's where you're at. I know exactly where you're at. One of the other things that would set him off he's been pretty passionate about lately was the fact that John Ramsey accused him in that Netflix documentary of stalking his family. I'll play that clip.
When his picture was published in the media, we had a little cottage up in northern Michigan, and we had a housekeeper that would come in and clean it periodically and check on it. And she saw that picture and called and said, that guy was in your garage last summer, 100% certain. The summer before JonBenet was killed, he wandered into your garage, kind of a strange guy, asking questions. And so I began to think, yeah, we were being stalked.
John, it's like John saying the housekeeper says she saw him. So it shows that. So he was pretty upset about that, and we've learned now why he was upset about that, because it's basically he's saying he was invited there almost.
Yeah.
Not that he was stalking the family. It's like, no, I was allowed to be there. Why would I be there? And it's like,
so then it's like
a guest.
I thought you said it was a test.
No, like a guest.
Again, because we've talked about John Ramsey's dynamic. He wouldn't know half the people that's going on. They hired a pageant coach for her. They got her photographer.
Yeah.
John doesn't know who's in the house, and he doesn't want to know who's in the house.
He's
Let me just go jerk off in my office. Yeah.
So it's we did hear in this Netflix documentary that stalking, sort of insinuation from John Ramsey, which is interesting because when John Mark Karr was first arrested, it was like this huge hubbub. It was on CNN. It was on all the newses, and it was this whole thing where, because honestly, it was like, oh my God, are we finally gonna get some resolution to this cold case, this child's murder?
Is this the
Stop talking. And so I was like, is this the face of this villain and the person who did this? Mm-hmm. And then it was like almost like within the same news cycle, we heard people from the Ramsey camp going.
Well, not the Ramsey camp, but people that very much are tied with Lynn Wood.
Yeah, that were going like, well, everybody slow your horses. Remember, John Ramsey even said something like, we can't just jump to conclusions or something like that. And it's like, whoa. So is this not the guy? Like, why do we not want to look at him or something like that? But now it's almost like, here we are many years later, where now it's John Ramsey saying, well, it's been said by blah, 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 that he was seen on our property. And it's like almost if they wanted to, if the Ramseys still wanted to somehow save face and not ever admit that, like, I don't know, that there was like maybe something going on between JMK and Patsy Ramsey or whatever, or any kind of connection, like maybe this is the way they can kind of get the public to, open up their legs a little bit and let the tip in that John Mark Karr might actually be the ultimate fight.
John Ramsey loves every year reopening that umbrella of suspicion and adding a little more to stuff under it. And that was like the one new tidbit, especially if he found out from people like, hey, the angle we're going to go is partway through, Michael Tracy's going to drop the he was cleared by the DNA, allegedly. You have that moment in the documentary where you always hear that one guy softly off camera and they have to do the subtitles where you're like, oh, this is a moment. And you hear the producer be like, I haven't heard this guy speak up. And then you hear the guy go, like, what do you mean allegedly? He's like, well, I think there's a problem with the DNA. And it's like that they do that whole montage where it's like, I think everybody needs to be back on the table.
And then, while spending most of the third hour talking about John Mark Karr specifically.
But we're getting a little ahead of ourselves because I want to lay out my theory with that too. A little bit later with why, that happened and stuff like the news cycle.
Yeah,
stuff.
Poppy's got a theory, Donna.
Oh, go ahead.
Why you got no theories?
So that is actually, no, you're leading right into this. So that's what we're going to talk about next is this alleged spicy affair. Like, what if also, by the way, when Patsy, because apparently, if you guys didn't listen, John Mark Karr alleges that him and Patsy Ramsey were possibly having an affair and that this was also going on during Christmas time and that he had a fight with his wife and Patsy said, hey, come on down. We'll meet you outside the house. We'll get you in when my husband goes to sleep and we'll just be together.
He wanted to put some firewood in her chimney, everybody.
So there was possibly an affair going on there. And also it's funny to think of that Linda Hoffman Pugh admission in her book that she was trying to write about how Patsy's trying to satisfy John. And she wants to know, like, what can she do to enjoy oral sex? And it's like, maybe she wasn't asking for
about John's
John.
A different John.
Yeah, now she's able to interchange, like, oh, John.
Wow.
Oh, that's so easy during sex, too. She doesn't have to worry about it.
John. Yeah.
Oh my God. But it's also something where it's like,
John R.
We gotta be more feminist in our thinking than just going, but Patsy Ramsey would never do this. When it's like, Patsy Ramsey is multidimensional. She can have all these charities. She can have, all these diseases and these dysfunctional family moments. And she can also, she can still fight and chew bubblegum at the same time.
And again, she's a cancer survivor, too.
Yeah.
At this point, too. So you got to think about this. It's like, a lot of times people come out of it like, I need to feel alive.
Yeah.
And John Ramsey, it's not like he was necessarily there for it during any of these treatments. They had to bring in the big guns with Nidra coming in to help out, which again, she wasn't helping out with the kids. She was really just helping out with Patsy. But John wasn't doing any of these flights to Maryland where she was always going to do these.
He wasn't holding her hand while she was getting, some intravenous thing.
But I'm sure John saw it as a way of very detached. Oh, well, I see it. I'm paying for these treatments.
He's like, I can't just stop my life, honey. It's what.
Obviously, I'm busy because I'm not in the home, so you have to assume I'm busy, even though I'm just jerking off now in my office at work.
And better to ask any questions. You fucking, muskrat,
It's well known, and we said this many times, Patsy's always said that her job when John was home was to keep the kids away from John. And so, and again, John being very disconnected from that family. John Mark Karr even brought up that 1 hour photo.
Oh my God, reference. Yeah. Where it's like, well, this is really meta. But also, it's also, there were times where, I gotta say, and I don't know how I feel about it, but John Mark Karr, at different times when he's talking about the Ramsey family and the dynamic and certain things and the way he was saying things, it did seem to me, possibly, believe it or not, I don't know, that he could know the Ramseys,
right?
And it sounded like it was trekking with some of the things that we've learned about the real Ramseys, especially the Perrys. And, you know, that isn't part of, you know, on the surface level details of this case, something that, you know, just any Tom, Dick, or Mary might be able to just, you know, glean.
Well, according to Mary Lacey, John Ramsey agrees with you.
What?
Because she said that in the press conference.
So when you combine the psychopathy and his statements and his emotional import and his knowledge of the crime and his knowledge of the family, we spent time with John and Patsy Ramsey. And something that John Ramsey said to me was that, and he read the emails, had read them previously. He said, this person has personal knowledge of these family members. His description of the Paw women is right on. He said, I don't know how they would know that. You wouldn't see it from the outside. He said, his description of JonBenet and Burke and how they related to each other, he said it's dead on. He knows.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like she's explained, like the way he said it is spot on. That's John Ramsey's words, where it's like, so he's very aware that they knew the family too.
It's so bizarre.
So if they were having an affair, though, again, he suggested, he walked me through this questionnaire process. Do you think I had an accomplice? Do you think somebody was in the room with me? Do you think I then sought help? Basically, it alludes to the fact that Burke and John were definitely sound asleep. He got her up, which I want to lay out my whole theory of how that whole night could go.
Okay.
But I do want to talk about the fact that if she did help him cover it up,
Patsy,
the ransom note, and how much goddamn sense, if this whole story is actually true, the ransom note would make if it was written by those two theatrical lunatics.
They both wrote it together.
Like, yeah.
I mean, honestly, Bobby, you're right about that.
Right.
It's like that ransom letter with all of its movie references that we've covered, pop culture kind of things, and while it's like just...
That's so funny, imagining like him just being like saying the thing from Speed, and she's like, that's brilliant. Is that from something? He's like, no. I just came up with that.
You're right. My God, they didn't have no IMDb back then. You know,
No.
You had to just take it. You know, it was like for a greater soul. You know,
I feel like maybe it did start in 1996 though.
Yeah. And so it's just fascinating to think that with that ridiculous letter, which was written by somebody,
3 pages long, longest ransom note in history.
You know,
Right.
It's like, who better to collaborate on that than two just self-centered narcissists who are also just they think they're smarter than they really are. They're getting themselves out of a pickle, and there's a lot of stakes, a lot on the line. They don't want nobody to know that he's there. They don't want things, and then it's like, of course they would write that ridiculous letter, and then be at the end of it be like, brilliant, you know,
Right.
give
They
each other
thought
a
it
high
was so
five.
great.
with their
Yeah.
nipples.
So then let's actually go back a little bit. I want to talk about then my theory of what could have possibly went down based on what he said.
Yeah.
So he, again, says December 23rd to January 4th is when he would have been unaccounted for.
Unaccounted
so
for,
that
could
would have
be
been
found.
the night of the Christmas party.
Oh, that's right.
That big Christmas party.
Oh,
with,
when everyone was there.
That didn't go well,
Yeah.
And then he would have been coming in town where they seem to have a pretty packed schedule in those couple days. But they alluded to like, oh, whenever he gets the time, he'll see Patsy. We do know at this time John Andrew has already left for Atlanta.
He in Atlanta.
Freeing up possibly that guest bedroom.
Oh.
That again in these photos seemed very kind of ruffled and things. So
Like someone slept there.
right. So what if this was supposed to be the last night they could have been together? Just entertain me here, folks.
Bobby, I'm squeezing my dick through my panties.
I'm talking about the audience. out there, too.
Oh, yeah. Squeeze your dick, everybody.
Right. So what if he did meet her there? Maybe he was even staying at the extra little Paul residence that they have, that other apartment for Access Graphics. But in the meantime, he could sneak over, hang out in the guest bedroom, wait for Patsy. So what if this was supposed to be the last night they could see each other? He waits in the guest bedroom. They go to the Fleets. They do this thing, then go do the drive around, come back. He's waiting for Patsy, and normally John would possibly just go to bed. But for some reason, what if their story that they say is true? John stays up and helps Burke with a toy. Patsy's just been kind of fucked up, so she goes upstairs and accidentally falls asleep.
In the dress that she was wearing.
Yeah,
Makeup and all. Yeah.
And so John Mark Karr is just like, what the fuck?
Blue balled.
Pissed off. Also a pedophile, and she doesn't know it. Takes JonBenet, does his
Scorned.
whatever. But because I don't think Patsy, again, we saw her find out a year or so later that she was sexually abused in the interrogation. Like, I actually believe that performance of Patsy, if it was a performance, of not knowing that she was sexually abused. So I think this is a situation where whatever he did, she was still asleep. And then possibly he was like, well, I gotta see her, and she needs to know that her daughter's, dead, obviously. So, because he does describe talking to Michael Tracy standing in the parents' bedroom. Almost in the way of like, John, maybe he's all melatonined out, but he's literally standing there, wakes her up.
Oh my God.
Says there was an accident that happened.
He's like the Red Dragon Ray Fiennes in the movie Red Dragon with Ray Fiennes.
Possibly. I was like, hey, I was trying to leave, and like she startled me and I accidentally hit her or something like that.
Puts his cold finger against Patsy's lips and just, looks her in the eye with like an immediacy and a rattle that says, shut the fuck up and follow me.
Yeah, but then it's gonna like, hey, like this is gonna look suspicious. Like, you're supposed to leave tomorrow. Like, I'm here. My DNA's on that bed.
How can I help you?
Like, we need to make this look like something else. And so then it's them colluding to work together. And what if in that note, because again, we've always talked about this, the intention seems like it was to get John out of the house.
Yeah.
And it definitely would seem like something where it's like, hey, don't call the police. You really got to think that through first.
Right.
And
you got to get some rest, and you got to get them some money together, and we'll call you on the 27th.
You got to get this person out.
And according to the Ramseys, even Burke, who overheard this, Patsy, she calls John down, and he looks at the note, and she says, what do we do? And he says, call the police. And she says, are you sure?
Right.
And he says, yes. And it's like, fuck. Because what if there was a thing where John was going to come back when John left the house? John Mark Karr was going to come back when John left the house and possibly actually help move her body.
Yeah.
But that all got blown to hell the second
John Ramsey was like, no, we're going to call the police. Which is also interesting because when Patsy did make the call to 911, and we've talked about this, she kind of makes it sound like she hasn't read the whole letter. And we've talked about how she read the whole letter, how she not. But also when it comes to the instructions that say don't call the police, that's not in the beginning of the letter.
That's true.
So she would have had.
She's putting on a performance now for 911.
Which further, I think supports this whole idea that there's something that she was trying to accomplish that didn't involve her husband, and
again, that's why they manipulate him with the letter. Small amount, 118. That's not gonna. John won't think anything of that.
Right?
No. Why would we
just
involve
pull
the
it
police?
out? Yeah.
But it's like, no, John kind of fucked it up, and then I imagine that was the last time him and Patsy, if what he says is true, actually got to talk. Because it's like, if he's trying to him coming back to the house and then seeing all the cops and being like,
yeah,
fuck.
Yeah.
Well, it's like that. And
wow.
They have to cover each other up.
And and then he's so blown away that she wrote the book. He seems so incredulous about that. He's like, I can't believe she did that. Because it's like she knows full well what happened to her daughter. And then we have a thing years later where I believe in my scenario that John had these private investigators who these guys weren't terrible investigators, okay? I mean, they might have been, but I feel like they could have found out if his wife was having an affair.
Surely.
And John's very hands off, and I don't think he would even try to broach bringing it up with Patsy.
No.
It's like, well, it seems like she's going to die soon.
Right.
Whatever. But knowing that, like, okay, I know about this affair, but I don't know about this affair. But this guy's far away. We don't have to worry about him. And then 2006 comes, they bring him back. And it's like, what's going to happen if we bring him back, though? We know from the grand jury documents that said the Ramseys were aiding somebody. So would this get reopened if they decided to charge him?
Oh,
and Patsy's dead now, so John's now just got to be the one who's like,
only one.
I got to convince you I didn't know about the affair or the cover-up. So what's easier than that? Let's just not get this guy charged and put in the news right before he's even touched ground in the U.S. Hey, let's not jump the gun.
We've watched this happen a lot in the media. We watched Richard Jewell get accused that he fit the profile of the lone bomber in the Atlanta park. It seems we never learn our lessons here in terms of a rush to judgment.
Right, and that's why we don't want to have a rush to judgment now. I mean, what a difference a decade makes, but does it? Let's make sure this time we don't repeat that same mistake with this particular suspect.
But you got to believe, based on what they're saying, if this individual would have had access to her, knew certain aspects of the case that were never made public, it seems pretty compelling, at least on the surface, early on, right?
Well, but it sure seemed compelling with the Ramseys early on, with that umbrella of suspicion, with no signs of forced entry, that ransom note having the amount of his bonus exactly as the ransom demanded, and even the Sharpie pen from the house in a secreted place where JonBenet was found that only the family would know about. So, and no footprints in the snow. So back then, those facts sure seemed to indicate some culpability, but in fact, it appears now that would not be the case. So again,
oh my God,
this might not be the guy.
That would help explain that, of like, oh wait, we actually didn't think this all the way through, or hey, this is an unintended consequence that could arise, and then it's like, oh fuck, actually, let brainstorm everybody. We got to do a rewrite.
right. So we got to make sure we get him out, and let's also make his whatever he confessed to the Boulder PD inadmissible because it won't go on any report because he was never charged.
Yeah.
So there's no official report of what his confession actually said to him, which did that include the affair? Did it not? So, and again, John would be left hanging for the bill of this, but it's like, boom, okay, we got him out here in Boulder. Now he's extradited to California to face the child porn charges from 2001, which is what he even fled for in the first place. That case also involved JonBenet because this lady that he was talking to, he had told, oh, you killed JonBenet, so they started looking into it, and they thought he also killed this other little girl. It's a whole thing.
Oh my God.
But they basically found on his computer there was child porn, and that's why he fled. There's a whole thing. But if he goes and faces those charges for that, they're gonna bring up JonBenet in the trial. And then what if he confesses that story during that trial? Then it's gonna make Boulder look stupid, where it's like, oh, hey, we got to reopen this because look at this California trial that they're talking about JonBenet again, even though we just let him go. So what do? Make the evidence disappear.
Yeah.
And he's not involved, and it's just, what if it's like...
and he even gets surprised that evidence disappears
now. It's like, what the fuck? I've confessed.
Out of all these like hundreds of thousands of pieces of evidence or whatever, only his is the one that goes missing. And not to mention, if you have two states involved with this like guy in some way, I mean, then eventually it's going to be going into, it's going to grab the attention of even more federal, agencies and what have you.
Well, I mean, according to him, we're going to talk about that. They're already... some looking into him still for something.
Dun.
Yeah, but it is just really interesting to think about that. Hey everybody, it's just Bobby by myself. I had a little post-coda discussion that I did already talk with Teddy and Donna about, but they're not here right now, so I want to include it for you guys. I did consider at one point, okay, if this JMK and Patsy kidnapping thing was going on where they're staging this, why wouldn't they have at one point considered taking the body? And then I realized maybe he did consider this, and that's why her fibers could have maybe been found in that suitcase that was below the window down there. But with rigor mortis setting in, you're not going to be able to transport her. So maybe he was going to get her out of the house, but he realized he was going to need a larger bag. The irony in this is that we've discussed this before, looking at the Ramsey floor plan of the basement, but located in that basement, in that crawl space that was boarded up and nailed shut, was a large duffel bag. The one thing that possibly could have prevented the whole thing and saved them was locked away in a little crawl space. So just wonder if things would have been different if this scenario is true. Anywho, back to the recorded show. Another thing I want to bring up, just because I think it's funny, is his absolute just like antipathy towards Burke.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like, number one, just the idea of him doing it. So he's definitely not a BDI guy. We know that.
Yeah. No. Burke is John Mark Karr's Donna. He hates her.
Right. But he said he was like, he kind of said he was like a bully to JonBenet, but he's like not really a bully.
He's not even smart enough to be a bully. Exactly. Is also what he said.
Exactly.
He just always just aggressive and irritating her all the time. And it's like, he probably isn't thinking of far ahead, in the sense of like this kid would probably would want to be able to do that or have a bully or someone he could, fucking boss around or whatever the fuck, rub shit on the walls and stuff for years. So not necessarily to kill. But I'm like, this is the thing. I don't think necessarily the death of JonBenet is premeditated. Oh no! With Burke, it's always been the idea of almost just like
an accident.
An accident that's also the culmination of other events and behavioral patterns of him, sometimes physically tormenting her.
Exactly. And we've seen that they could have the capability in the CBS documentary that you can still rent, so it's still available. But he also talks about how Burke being on Dr. Phil where he shares our sentiment of like he didn't understand why he did that.
Yeah.
But he also shared with us that he got $27,000 for it. And he's like, I don't know why Burke needed $27,000, but
I mean, I'm not going to use $27,000 right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it is interesting,
right?
Because we've also seen Reddit posts of Burke where he's trying to find like what kind of how to work insurance to get Adderall and stuff. You know,
exactly.
Sometimes we get this impression of he's got all this money, but it's like maybe he's not given access to that money.
Yeah, and John Mark Karr doesn't even believe that he won that CVS lawsuit.
Oh,
Or got that $750 million ridiculous
right
amount. Even though they're canceling everything and selling all of this stuff. Yeah. But that's beside the point. On the same topic of children, too, and him being there, I forgot that little tidbit of the neighbor across the street seeing, I believe it was the Steins.
Oh, yeah. She saw someone tall and skinny, thought it was John Andrew Ramsey.
On Christmas Eve.
On Christmas Eve.
At the front of the house. It was like daytime.
My God.
Oh, I could see how you'd mistake the two.
Yeah,
exactly.
Sure.
Jack Skellington or John Mark Karr.
They both had weird faces back then that were kind of like more forehead than anything else.
Right.
Ooh,
So very distinct brow.
Yeah.
Same color hair. And again, John Andrew out of town. Could have been in the guest bedroom.
Wow.
John's, he's just, whatever.
He's detached.
I bet you could probably get away with cheating on him while he's in the same house.
Yeah, he probably don't give no fuck.
So
that house was huge too.
That basement.
Yeah.
Let's go to our cellar.
Most
where we always hook up.
Most of the people that
Dirty.
get away with cheating and sometimes do cheating on their own house, like they don't got no house that's even a little close to as big as Ramsey's house. Shit.
You falling asleep? What was that?
No, I'm not falling asleep. I'm just.
But yeah, it was a lot of places to hide, have an affair. What an exciting life Patsy was leading. Possibly a drug dealer. Dr. Beef. One thing that really threw me while we were talking, and I didn't want to ask more questions on because he already clearly said he wasn't going to answer it about it, was that he alluded that there was some sort of agency that he would not name that has been investigating him for a long time. He says now the FBI, he knows they're after him for some reason. And it might still be tied to this reason, where basically they were looking into him even before the, this murder or whatever.
Yeah.
And they might have also been looking into the Ramseys, apparently. Because he says during the Ramsey grand jury, there was a concurrent investigation going on that also involves the Ramseys.
Well, they were supposed to be presented with evidence, not theories. During the time that they're supposed to be presented, even if it's spoken hearsay, anything can be said during a grand jury hearing, and anyone can participate, including agencies of law enforcement outside Boulder County or Boulder Police, which I'm pretty sure, because I know of an investigation that happened simultaneously with the grand jury hearing. And that's about all the information I'm going to give you about that. But it was going on simultaneously, and it did involve the Ramsey family.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He did
And
say
so
that.
Conspiracy Alley here, it's like, what could that possibly mean?
Yeah.
'Cause my mind immediately, just because, again, I love conspiracies, and I just want to throw this out there, goes to that November 1996 picture taken of JonBenet in New York City on her mommy-daughter thing.
Yeah.
We see JonBenet, but we also see this woman's profile that's supposed to be like a background person, and it very much, as a lot of people on the internet pointed out, looks like Ghislaine Maxwell.
Ghislaine Maxwell.
And Jeffrey Epstein was very much based out of New York City. He had offices there.
Oh
That's
my
where
God.
one girl that was like masseuse and her and her sister or something. Her and another girl, where that started. The girl that eventually went to Albany, New Albany, Ohio.
Yeah,
Les Wexner's.
Yeah, she's dead now.
But she started as a masseuse in New York, at his New York office. And I think she was like 14 or some shit.
Masseuse is a type of mouse clown.
No, it's somebody who
that's
massages
not.
you.
Oh!
And then, as they've described in these court documents, finish you off. But also, they make you promises of, modeling careers and who you have ties to. And we know now Jeffrey Epstein was pretty big on doing that. But Ghislaine Maxwell was in charge of recruiting people. And we have these Patsy Ramsey trying to find any in to get her daughter, in the industry. Kind of thing. And it's, again, that doesn't mean that they actually, oh yeah, we're going to do this. Here's my daughter or whatever. But just them meeting with Jeffrey Epstein could get them involved in an investigation that they're not even aware is going on. But now their names are on there.
Or in it.
Oh my God.
They're in the Epstein files?
No, not necessarily in the Epstein files.
Okay.
They're in the X-Files.
In an investigation that could be ongoing. Because if you want to think that possibly John Mark Karr was involved in the same kind of network
Oh my God.
of people too, where he's talked about Epstein before too. But at that time,
he said he's not going to give no kids to Democrats.
But and in our conversation too, he also says that during the grand jury, he believes that an agent of possibly whatever agency could have offered testimony.
Wow.
And that would have been, if that would have been it, I mean, who knows what it is, but he says
there's
that
so many
happened.
more things that this could have opened, that could have been Pandora's cocks about.
And we've looked it up. You can't find a full list of all the people that were witnesses. You can you can get a general idea of people just through interviews or whatever that have actually testified. But nobody would know if, walking into the courthouse, some, agent for something and what they could have said. But what if it was, again, something that's like, well, we know that they met with this person who's currently under an investigation for basically, a pedophile ring.
Yeah.
My God.
Like, why did you meet?
And then that could have basically, they could put her in the situation that put her in danger, as the grand jury indictment ends up saying.
Oh my God, yeah.
It allowed her to meet somebody that could have been involved with somebody.
What is that other investigation? Could it have been that?
Like Jeffrey Epstein might have sent an associate of his, possibly a John Mark Karr out.
Ghislaine?
And as we know, that some of the attorneys that the Ramseys had were the same law firm that Ghislaine Maxwell used.
Al Haddon.
So,
he's currently speaking at CrimeCon right now. As we record this right now.
Wow.
How about that?
Which is crazy. I'd love to ask him about him and his mystery boxes.
He's looking for fresh meat.
Yeah, in the Kobe Bryant case. Oh, somebody gets a mystery box of evidence. It's like, yeah, hey, send this out, journalist.
It's
and then Paula
homework.
Woodward gets a mystery box of. It's he's a good attorney
and a great gifter.
And if you want, you can read his PDF. Oral history as written by Hal Haddon.
Pedophile oral history?
Online. No, he's got his own little mini biography that he wrote.
Who doesn't?
He thinks everyone wants to know.
But he considers Paula Woodward a close personal friend and still does to this day, is how he describes it in there.
She's just a model of objective journalism.
So yeah, Conspiracy Alley.
Absolutely.
What if what was going on there? If what he's saying is true, that there was some sort of other investigation going on, and again, he speculates. He doesn't know for sure, but he speculates that he believes somebody was. And he does also say, just for the conspiracists out there that want to try to pinpoint this timeline, that he was, because he says a lot of names in these phone calls of people he talked to, and these are, I'm telling you these for a reason, where he says that he found that out about this other investigation in 2007.
Well, now, ain't that something, Donna?
Wow.
Stop talking. Wow.
So, Conspiracy Alley there.
Yeah.
This just brings us on to our final thoughts on this. And, when we were going to be putting this out there, we weren't sure how people were going to feel about it.
Oh, yeah.
I know a lot of people were very dismissive of the John Mark Karr theory, and I was as well too. But we've noticed people really, really hate this guy.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Which, I think they got very good reasons to hate him, and not to not like him, to hate him. I don't like him.
Right.
Yeah.
But I was always, again, curious to what his full story was. Even if you don't believe him, it's the thing is well, I need to know what. Let me fill in the gaps. Maybe because they haven't solved it. It's unsolved.
Right.
But a lot of people I've found have been pretty close-minded about this because we tried to bring it up on Reddit, and it was just It's
very surprising. It's really strange. And I'm going to be honest, everybody. I'm a little disappointed.
Well, yeah.
I'm disappointed because this is kind of the thing. Okay, we went on yesterday. We've been doing this for a minute. We've been doing a while. And we've been doing this where, we will discuss and we will, unturn of every rock will flip over, every log will overturn. We will investigate and examine things. And even if it's just, this is what this party claims, this is what this party claims, what resonates, what don't, what contradicts, what tracks, what might be something, oh my God, I never thought about that before. And here we have this person who's still being wielded as this kind of, almost like a Patsy, but almost like a target for as a possible culprit, and at the same time, this person who was the only other person ever arrested in this thing, and at the same time, also with a story that doesn't make sense and is incomplete,
and also didn't know he was being recorded too.
Yeah. Which is the only way to get him to be honest,
right?
And so then he gives this wealth of stuff, including intrepid information and things that need to be analyzed by the community of people who are invested in this case, even if it's just for the dialogue to then discount, or maybe to go, hey, I hadn't heard that before. But then some people are like, I'm not listening to it at all from the jump. And I'm like, how can you have certainty
exactly
when we do get to the answer and the solvings of the case if you are willfully ignorizing yourself to a part that is freshly unfolding with brand new information straight from the horse's mouth,
whether or not it's true or not,
believe it or not, it don't even matter, but you gotta listen and you gotta chew on it.
But you guys got me out here sympathizing briefly with Jameson. Because after the Reddit post, it was a thing of just like, Jameson has retreated into like making their own subreddit. Jameson's famously an intruder did it person. It's like they're not even welcome there, where she's like, my theories aren't. But Jameson was one of the people that were sent, a big box of evidence, including like all of the interrogation tapes. Jameson transcribed it for everyone. That's why anybody has these interview things out there. But I imagine it's like giving this wealth of knowledge to the community and possibly having more information and like wanting to like get it out there, but it's like people immediately dismissing it. So it's just like, fuck you guys.
Right.
But like, it's like this case is just meant to be open, and it's meant for there to constantly be like question as to whether or not he was involved. And I feel like that's in exchange for his life and not being in jail and not having trials pursued. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like you're answering something maybe we were talking about 10 minutes ago.
She's so slow and stupid with this shit.
We'll edit it back in there so it's like in the
we'll put that in earlier and make it sound like you know what you're talking about. I have
also forgiven you people. I don't know. For those that are saying he doesn't deserve to like have the spotlight again, he didn't know he was being recorded. And this was the thing where I had to like lie to him to basically get him to say certain things, to say like, I'm in my wits end with this case. I just want to be done. We'll stop the podcast. We'll do all this.
I'll say that was a lie.
Yeah, no, stop it. Obviously, this is the next episode, you dipshit.
I just don't know what to look forward to no more. And I'm nothing going on in my life.
But we did have a nice message this morning from one of our YouTube members who is a paid member and a producer. NGC Cat's Eye. Who said basically, like, respectfully, they're not going to listen to it and they're not going to watch it because they haven't been watching any of them. But they still support us just because they don't agree with it. Which I love that sentiment because I love that you're still supporting us.
Yeah.
But it's like, I hope you at least watch this one, and we appreciate your support. This is, again, going to be the last time we'll talk about John Mark Karr. But,
but also, it's,
open your mind,
Yeah.
Listen to if you want to, I don't understand, I don't know. You should have the whole story, and you should be open to the whole story, and to be closed off immediately about one theory is already the wrong path.
Right.
Like, you're already just like, okay, well, then you're going to just you can go as far as you want down one way, but if you're missing out on something, it's like, I'd rather have all the pieces.
Yeah.
Right.
When an entire group of people who like have this similar interest in, kind of following and tracking this case, investigating, things and blah, blah, blah. When, it's been so fractured and splintered in so many different ways where people have different, ideas and conclusions about, well, blah, blah, blah. And then it creates almost like this Tower of Babel moment where suddenly, we can't understand each other. But then at the same time, like, speaking different languages, but like, there's so many mirrors and parallels when it's like, if someone drops out of participating because they think that this is what happened and whatever, and they're not going to listen to anything else. And then someone else is of the same mind of, I'm going to drop out and not talk because I believe it's this other thing or whatever. It's like they're both doing the same thing, even if it's like, for different on the surface reasons.
Exactly.
But it's like also like what we all need to focus on is that we're all trying to get the same thing. We're trying to get the answers out. Exactly. And here, Bobby was able to make like Rumple Foreskin, the ability to create an opportunity to talk to John Mark Karr in a format and at a duration that John Mark Karr has never been presented to us before, because it's usually always in some little small little interview clip or something, asking the same questions all the time. People do.
Right.
And instead, not only came prepared with questions and follow-up questions, but then also had the presence of mind to let John Mark Karr really kind of just be his own worst enemy and let his ego take over, because he got a huge ego. And say more than we even knew to even ask with new questions.
People's never been able to get out of them. And honestly, if you do believe it, it's almost kind of like a beautiful poetic thing, because these two competing sides were both right.
Yeah.
Right.
The Ramseys did it,
Right.
and there was an
intruder.
intruder. Where Patsy wrote that note for sure. Everyone's been so damn sure. And it's like, yeah, you're right. And it's like, but also this
But
intruder,
yeah.
this friendly intruder technically. But it's just how beautiful would that be?
Yeah.
Whether or not it is.
We'd be kissing, holding hands.
That's what we're here for, and that's what we're here to report on. So this has been our John Mark Karr report finally. We'll stop talking about him.
Yeah, please, for the love of God.
But we also want to know, the people that actually did listen to this saga or just this episode, what you thought. So we love you guys and we appreciate your support. We're going to be moving on now.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah, we'll always be here for you, unlike some sort of parent figure that you're mad about and you direct that rage and fury at us. And that's okay, because we're mature. And I am really proud of the milestone in investigative, independent, true crime journalism that occurred here at this storied institution of JBT with this John Mark Karr report.
With the best audience.
Yeah.
The best
we
audience.
should win an award for this.
Yeah. So nominate us for all the awards.
Yeah, be a fucking good listener and nominate me some.
Yeah, or join our Patreon or on YouTube. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, hey, we love you guys. Thank you so much. We're going to be moving on for the next episode.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about something different.
Right. Well, hey, I'm Bobby Pavlovsky.
And I'm Teddy Ronald Reagan.
And this is
JonBenet Today.